Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. This video has been long awaited, and it's something that I've always wanted to talk about on this channel, and I really don't see enough attention I haven't seen one video in the community on this topic. So I'm always thinking of fresh content and fresh ideas and things that we need to talk about here in the community. And actually, several survivors from my support group over on Facebook have requested this video. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that. And we're talking about emotional eating here. Emotional eating. Now, this is a type of eating disorder, and it could even come in the form of binge eating. You know, you could be emotional eating while binge eating. But I found that this was something, you know, definitely relevant to the narcissistic abuse community because, you know, a lot of times when we're in that toxic relationship, we actually don't have healthy coping mechanisms or healthy ways to cope with, you know, the stress and the abuse that we're experiencing in that relationship. And it is not uncommon for a codependent or even an empathic person to self-harm themselves. And why is that? Because we're always putting other people ahead of us, you know, and a lot of times we're not even on the list. So it becomes very easy to neglect ourselves and to have unhealthy habits while we're running around trying to be everything to everyone else, and we're depleting ourselves. We're not putting the adequate time into ourselves. And before you know it, you know, our waistline is just expanding and expanding. And it's not even really about the food itself, even though, you know, I have a few things here, several, not more than a few that I'm going to touch on in this video. And I really hope that it gives someone something to think about and help them, you know, have a breakthrough moment and a light bulb moment in their life to get proactive and turning this around, you know, because it doesn't have to stay that way. But yeah, emotional eating is a real thing. And given the rates of obesity and overweightness here in America, a lot of people, chances are emotionally eating. And that is the cause of them gaining this weight. Well, the general name for it, but we're going to get into what the triggers could possibly be, because it's the triggers that are causing you to self-soothe in that way. And then there's a whole lot of things, because this is like an onion with a lot of layers, and I won't touch on everything in this video, but I'm certainly going to cover a lot of content. So hopefully you have time to, you know, just go ahead and listen to this. A lot of information here, and come back if you need to later. You know, there's playing pause and the video's not going anywhere. All right. So yeah. It's very self-destructive, guys, as you can see, if you are a person that has an issue with emotional eating. And I'll say right now that I have had this issue in my life. So you're not only listening to someone who has researched it, but I've walked into those shoes and I know the challenges. I know the mindsets. I know, you know, the blockages and all of that stuff, guys. So you know, I feel for it and I understand. I'll just say that. All right. So let's talk about triggers here. A lot of times when we're emotional eating, there's a lot of things that can be causing it. But if we go beneath the surface, there's a lot of things on the surface, and then there's things beneath the surface when we're getting to the root of it. So I want to talk about the root things real quick and at least mention them. So triggers, a lot of times it could be stress. It could be anger. It could be something like boredom. Okay. It could be being scared. It could be stuff like depression. It could be sadness. It could be feeling lonely. You know, it's basically this food is providing you a temporary relief a lot of times for life challenges. You know, you have an argument with your boyfriend or your wife and you find yourself eating. You know, that's why we see that stigmatism. Oh, you have a breakup. Oh, here's a pint of ice cream. You know, or someone's eating out of a whole family-sized carton of ice cream. You know, whether you eat it all or not, but you're just eating out of it. And you're really just thinking about your hurtness, and you're just eating this ice cream, not because you're hungry. So you don't know how much you're eating because you're eating it right out the container. There's no like, okay, I'm just going to put one serving here and enjoy that. But you're just going and going and going while you're thinking about your problems. And now you've eaten an extra hundreds of calories. And you know what they say, a second on a lip and a lifetime on the hips. But I definitely don't want to speak that, because we can reverse these things. All right. With some discipline. And when we stop obsessing per se. So let's get into this. So I've had like a whole bunch of little subtopics here of other reasons why we're emotional eating in these toxic relationships that are coincided with us being in that toxic relationship too. So sometimes we might not even have the awareness. Sometimes there may be a lack of consciousness of what we're doing, because we're not thinking first. We're not having like that mindfulness to say, okay, to connect the dots. Like you're just having like a chain reaction. You had the argument, or you had the conflict with whatever, or something disappointed you, and now you're eating. You're not really even thinking of that. Like you're just doing it out of habit. All right. And that's what I mean about the mindfulness. So the solution to something like that is to just think before you're eating. Like before you eat, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing it. Say, am I actually hungry? Before you eat, think of that. Am I actually hungry? And then you might also want to ask yourself, why am I eating? Okay, because in psychology, they do have something called unconscious eating. And that's exactly what I was just describing. Out of habit, it's almost like robotic, if you will. You have the discomfort and you want this temporary relief. Okay, and you're finding it through food. So am I actually hungry, and why am I eating? That's a part of being mindful, guys. And that's going to kick into your awareness, and you're going to find out that, oh my gosh, most of the time that I'm eating, I'm not even actually hungry. And, you know, of course, this is what the emotional eating is. All right. So, of course, the other reason that's so obvious as to why people are emotionally eating, because the food is a soothingness to you. It's like a drug, right? You're getting pleasure out of eating something that you think tastes good. All right. Now, just to say something right now, you know, especially here in America, because I'm an American, but I think this is blanketed around most cultures. There are times where we use food for pleasure. Okay. And this is usually during special occasions and holidays. Masses of people do this. We cook all this food, and a lot of it might even get wasted, but we're cooking all this food and we're stuffing and we're eating our faith, and we're laughing and toasting and drinking and, you know, and any kind of celebration. Okay. So it's actually something that we condone, but in doing that, it definitely opens up the gateway to have emotional eating. Okay. And then there's something else that I want to share with you guys. Eating sugars and fats, they actually release something called opioids out of your brain. Okay. And in opioids, those are active ingredients that are found in stuff like cocaine and heroin and other narcotics, guys. And the opioids give you this calming, soothing effect once it's released from your brain. So if you're under the stress of arguing with that narcissist, and, you know, you're not standing up to the narcissist, but you need to feel some type of relief in your emotional eating, and it's releasing those opioids through eating those sugars and those fats, and it's making you feel calm and soothing in the moment. And that's why I say a temporary relief. It's a toxic temporary relief on top of that, because it didn't resolve, you know, the issue that you were having with the narcissist. It provided a temporary hormonal relief to de-stress you, you know, after the incident, or, you know, something like that. So the other reason why I wanted to mention the opioids, guys, because that is the issue. After you've made the perpetual habits of turning to food, it can kind of be like getting rid of a drug habit at that point. So, I'm going to go down the list because other things that I'm going to say is going to help you, give you some more coping skills and understanding to the emotional eating. All right. But obviously for this one, you want to find other ways to soothe yourself and other ways to reward yourself, other ways to celebrate. Okay. But obviously, we don't want to make other pitfalls. So we need those ways to be healthy and balanced. So you're not switching one unhealthy habit for another. Okay, guys? So the next thing that I want to talk about here is physiologically. And this is really talking about having that lack of balance, and kind of like in my opening statement where I say that we're putting so much into everyone else and we're not putting ourselves on a list. And then, our health is deteriorating because we're packing on this weight, eating this unhealthy food, and there can be serious consequences. So let's talk about the physiological aspect of things and beyond the opioids, of course, that are being released through the sugars and the fats, guys. And these things include letting yourself get too hungry, letting yourself get too tired, and actually, I'm going to add here on the list, hydration, a lack of hydration, because you might find, that you're actually more thirsty than hungry. I know I'm able to distinguish that now. I'll be like, man, I'm a lot more thirsty than I am hungry. And I'll go ahead and drink, and I'll find that I've eaten a little bit of food at that time, and that's fine. I really needed to be hydrated because I believe the body is over 70% water, guys. And if you didn't know that, now you do. Water is very, very important, guys. So maybe you might intercept yourself when you think you're hungry. Drink some water and see if that actually takes it away from you. And a lot of people get into the habit of drinking water before they eat their food as well at their meal times. All right. But, it could be, like I said, that you're actually thirsty and not hungry. And while we're talking about water here, guys, I highly suggest that my survivors get into drinking lemon water. There's a lot of benefits to that. And it actually does help with your digestion of food. And there's just so many healthy vitamins and stuff in the lemons. And it actually helps curb your appetite as well. All right. And it makes your water go up several notches. Let's say you already drink spring water. You can make your water super by adding those lemons to it. Hey, if you really want to get fancy, cut some cucumbers in there as well, guys. And there's all types of little concoctions. Sometimes I feel like I'm drinking a salad, but it's like a wonderful, beautiful thing to me. So Google is your friend here. And there's a lot of things that you can learn about as you get healthier. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more further down the list here. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yes, the codependents and empaths and just people out there who just have lack of self-love. You could be the one that's getting less sleep because you're out breaking your back, working to support your family, and you're just not having a good work-life balance. I've been guilty of this myself. I'm going to say that I have. But, when I feel myself doing that, my body lets me know, I let me know, and I definitely intercept it, and I make ways to make that better. And, it's easy for me. It's easy for me because I work for myself. I set my own hours. I can say, I'm going to do this then and not that. But for some of you out there, you may have to really get creative about that and just think about what's most important to you as far as, getting your proper rest and such. Okay. Are you living beyond your means? Is that person being too demanding from you? Like, you have to get your proper rest. All right. Because when you're not rested enough and you're too tired, you're going to be vulnerable to slip. How are you going to be strong to fight off your cravings and stuff? And as a matter of fact, I know for a fact that when I wasn't getting enough sleep, I was relying even more on sugar because I needed something some type of stimulant to keep me awake, to get all of this massive amount of work done, and these are the people that are drinking lots of coffee, eating lots of candy and chocolate bars, trying to get the sugar rush. And then the infamous, what I really don't like are those power drinks. Oh, no. I really don't like those. And you guys really should research it. If you're one of the people that like to drink those energy drinks, basically, that are very toxic for you. All right. Start researching natural herbs that help, give you more energy, and that comes from the earth, and that's, natural. But nothing really replaces getting your adequate rest, because your cells are going to be regenerating. And what happens when you're not getting that rest as well is it sends very strong messages to your brain to eat. Okay. And you're less likely, like I said, to fight off those urges and cravings. And as a matter of fact, you may actually be leaning on them, because that's what I used to do years and years and years ago when before I got into this business and line of work. And I worked in an airline business, and I would work 24-hour shifts. So I would make a rule with myself. I can't be doing two things wrong. If I'm not getting enough rest, I'm going to be eating good. I had to do something. So when I wasn't getting enough rest, I was eating good, and actually really overeating and compensating in sugars to try to keep myself up. So you really have to sit down and think about what's most important in your life, and you can't be running yourself to the ground. All right. So you want to be rested. You want to eat small meals, and actually throughout the day. And the good thing with that is it actually has been proven to increase your metabolism if you feel like you're not burning off enough, because you've eaten and then 10 hours later you're eating again. All right. Your body, the way that it breaks down food and calories over the hours, believe they say like around hours 5 and 6, your body is looking for something else. It doesn't have to be junk food. All right. It doesn't have to be junk food though. So, and we're going to get into that a little bit further down the list. So let's make the time for all the people. I don't have time to sit down and eat these little small meals, Lakia. Well, health really is wealth. So you really have to start thinking about that and managing that. Okay. Be rested. Like I said, just to recap the physiologically, be rested, consider that you may be thirsty and not hungry, and eating small meals to help increase your metabolism and to keep you from just eating like this one massive meal where you want to eat everything in sight. Then you're uncomfortable for hours and hours. Look, I've been there and I've done that. So that's why I told you guys, I know. And then you might be like, well, no, when I don't eat for a lot of hours, my stomach shrink. You might sound like one of those people, but it comes back because you'll eat that small meal right before you go to bed after you haven't eaten all day. And then in the middle of the night, you're going to wake up with a growling stomach, and then you're going to go down in the fridge and you're going to feel like you're binge eating in that moment because your body missed all those calories throughout the day. Okay. So let's really try to be mindful about that. And that actually ties into my next thing, which is sabotaging due to lack of planning. All right. So with the unhealthy habits. So if we have any goal in life, we make plans for it. And it's the same thing that's going to happen with, living a healthier lifestyle, guys. All right. So we're going to make plans, and we're going to intercept ourselves, not to overwhelm ourselves. We're just going to practice, again, that word mindfulness. So we might go in our pantry and see what we have in our pantry and our refrigerators, and things that we know is just very toxic for our body. Are we eating fast food all the time out of convenience? Oh, it's so easy to go through the Wendy's drive-through, Lakia. I'm telling you, when I was making the healthier shifts in my life, I really paid attention to my body after I ate some fast food. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel so good. I really don't feel so good. I don't ever want to eat this again. And I made that decision. And to this day, I haven't done it because I've really listening to myself. See, when we're fast paced and all this other stuff, it's just easy to fall into that. So the way that we do that is have our healthy alternatives to intercept ourselves. Like I would start keeping like a little sandwich bag of almonds in my car. There's so many produce junctions around me, and that's where we get our healthy fruits and vegetables. It's so easy for me to keep apples around, things that don't have to be refrigerated that I can grab if I feel any type of hunger strike. And that's going to be healthier than me going through the fast food line. Okay. And then books like Eat This, Not That, and Google is your friend here as well to find not only, having the safety nets like the produce junction and the nuts and the fruits and vegetables, but finding, like I said, the healthy alternatives to the foods that you were craving before. Okay, if I love soda, what can I have? You know, they'll always say what the sparkling water, the flavored sparkling waters would give you that similar taste. But you can just research these things. Okay, well, I really like to eat chips. Are there any healthy chips that I can eat? You know, just start researching it. Or if you're a person that was juicing it up, you know how many calories juice and soda would give you in one day? So finding the healthy alternatives. Oh, well, this juice only has this many calories and has a small amount of sugar. And allow yourself to, let your taste buds have time to change, guys. Chocolate, you know, you eat a whole bunch of milk chocolate and you research and find out, you know, dark chocolate is actually healthy for you, but just eating a little bit, you know, and instead of eating really fast, you can chew a little slower and actually taste it and, you know, savor it like that. And it gives your stomach time to catch up with your brain. Okay. But this goes for people as well, as far as lack of planning and sabotaging, because if someone is just incredibly stressful in your life as well, and they didn't bring anything but high stress in your life, why are we keeping them around as well? You know, and this goes for that narcissistic relationship, any toxic people. Okay. I agree that they shouldn't have that effect on you to what they're doing should cause you to self-harm yourself. But, you know, when we're cleaning out our pantry and our fridge, why not clean out that toxic person too, to at least give ourselves a chance to break some type of relief, like a real relief from those life challenges that that person was bringing into our life. I remember a situation that I was in. And I told that person, you know, I let them know that I noticed the amount of weight that I gained in that relationship. And I said, I'll be damned if I allow myself to do that again. But that meant me taking control of the situation, of course, and not allowing them to be able to come through my shield and make me do that to myself. And it also meant me removing them out of the darn equation there. Okay. Because anybody that's unhealthy like that, what am I keeping you around for? Okay. So the next thing, guys, that I want to talk about here is perceptions, because a lot of times we have these fails when we're trying to change these habits because of our perceptions. And I talk about perceptions over and over and over on this channel because it really does matter, guys, because I want you to make a sincere change. And if you still actually think and have this resistance to it because of your negative perceptions, then you may not be able to maintain the healthy change because it's not going to be real and sincere. It's like you're wearing a mask. You're going through the motions, but you're not really in agreement to it. You really actually have resistance. But because Coach Lakia said it, but because, you know, my doctor said it, you need to see it for yourself. You really need to work on seeing it for yourself. So let's talk about some of the perceptions, guys. If you're looking at the healthy changes as a punishment rather than self-love, this is, you know, going to be a part of that self-sabotaging. Because if you're always, oh, fruit is a punishment. Eating my vegetables is a punishment. Not having meat with this meal is a punishment. I can't have soda anymore. Punishment. No. You have to look at that as I'm showing self-love now. I want to put good things in my body. If you're seeing, just think about that. If you were on, what can I say? If someone put 2 plates of foods in front of you, one of them was a poopy diaper. And other one was ripe fruit from an exotic island. Which one would you choose? All right. So let's say the garbage, the fast food, consider that a poopy diaper. You know, every time you look at that, consider it a poopy diaper. You're going to eat a poopy diaper? I don't think so. I heard about the stem cells and the umbilical cords and people eating that blood because it regenerates and they're finding some health benefits to that. But I haven't heard that about poopy diapers. Okay. So it's really a perception. If you're thinking as a candy bar is a reward versus a yummy fruit salad is a reward, you're seeing the fruit salad as a punishment. So that's what I'm talking about. So we have to have the right perceptions, because guess what? That candy bar is not a reward. It's full of sugar and fats. It's not a reward. And over time, what is it really doing for you? All right. So again, when you're saying no to those things and you're seeing it as a restriction, actually, rather than a freedom, it's freeing me. It's freeing me. It's helping my health. It's going to help me actually reach my goals. If it was to have a healthier lifestyle, if it was to shed some body fat, if it was to have the pounds go down on the scale, all types of things. And some of you may have the type 2 diabetes out of this situation. Guess what? Lifestyle changes will reverse that. So it's actually freeing me from bigger things. And that's when you have to think, hey, my life is greater than a donut. It's greater than a candy bar. Come on. It's the perceptions here. It's not a restriction. It's freeing me. It's investing into myself and my longevity and my fitness. It's a lot easier to do these changes, guys, when we feel the right way about it. Instead of our feelings going against our actions, then we're going through the motions. And then you will find pretty soon that you're going to fall in line with your feelings, because some people let their feelings run them anyway. And that's another thing that we have to check with ourselves. So like I said, if we can sincerely begin to see why we're doing these things, if you love to be there for your family, for your children, why wouldn't you make the healthy sacrifices? You have to actually put yourself first so that you can be able to be useful and helpful to others. So it's a perception, guys. All right. It is a perception. So now let's talk about the next thing here. And it's the inability to tolerate and cope with difficult feelings. Okay. So yeah, we keep talking about feelings. Some things they're just running themes here, because what? We're in this toxic relationship and we don't know how to deal with it. And we found that, hey, the emotional eating is soothing me. So it's a distraction. And you need to look at that as a distraction, and it's just intercepting your ability to actually face those difficult feelings. And it's adding more to your plate because you already have the difficult feelings. Now I'm going to be adding bad health, and I could be adding illnesses and other things. You got stress already inside of you. You're not eating good. All these things are just running together. So the solution is to allow yourself to experience the difficult feelings, guys. It's actually going to be facing the conflict, facing it, seeing what those triggers are. Okay, well, what's making me turn to this food right now? And obviously it's the person. But even if we remove this person, now there may be other feelings that are going on inside of me as well that I need to address from being abused for so many times. And we're going to talk about that as I go down the list. All right. So allowing yourself to experience it and face these difficult feelings and the conflicts. And while we're facing them, we're going to be finding solutions, but healthy solutions that don't include the emotional eating, of course. All right. So the next thing on the list is the body image issues and body hate, or, basically hating your body. And that toxic relationship, that person could have constantly been putting you down. Maybe you even met this person, you were extremely fit, but through the progression of the relationship, you started putting on the weight and turning to emotional eating to deal with the abuse that you were going through. You didn't know what else to do. You weren't willing to leave out of it because of your codependency more than not. So you start the self-harming here. And because you were already putting that relationship on the throne and not yourself, it was very easy for you to stop going to the gym. It was very easy for you to, start doing these toxic things and putting toxic things inside of your body. Okay. So if you hate your body, will that just think, let's hop out of our emotions into our logic. Okay. If you hate something or you feel defeated and helpless about it, will you feel inspired to change it? if you're feeling defeated and helpless and you hate it. It's something that you don't want to address. It's something that you don't want to be bothered with. And that will enable you to keep doing the toxic stuff, right? So, when I say defeated, look at it like this. Someone might say, I only want to lose 5 pounds. Oh, it's only 5 pounds. But then someone over here might say, oh my God, I gained 50 pounds. I gained 60 pounds. I gained over 100 pounds. Oh, I gained hundreds of pounds, even in some cases. Everyone's seen my 600-pound life. Now, when people have what someone might say, astronomical amount of pounds to lose, it's like, why am I even trying? Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. This is impossible. It's not like I only have to lose 5 or 10 pounds. This is 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and you feel overwhelmed, and that makes you feel defeated and helpless. And then you have the shame and the negativity, and it not only doesn't inspire you, but it pushes you to eat even more, because now you're increasing those sad feelings and the stress triggers, and now you're eating that much more, and it's multiplying the issue rather than resolving it. But like I said, you're getting those opioids, and it's making you feel a temporary false sense of relief, right? So, the solution to this is, of course, to change the perceptions and to make mini goals. All right. And I tell this to survivors who are healing from the pain from narcissistic abuse, who may not be using emotional eating, but just they're stuck in a grieving process, if you will. When they're coming to coaching with me, we celebrate all progression because it all adds up to the bigger picture. We're focused on the next step and not the end step. We're focused on the next step and not the finish line. Okay. Because we know the next step is getting us closer to the finish line. We don't need to be thinking about the finish line just yet. Let's start with losing the 5 or 10 pounds. Start looking at it in smaller increments, and it all starts to build up, and it's less overwhelming. When I say, you know what? Well, my next month plan, I would like to lose 5 to 10 pounds this month, and I'm going to work really hard at that. We don't have to keep focusing on, okay, I need to lose 80 pounds altogether. And then you keep thinking about that 80 pounds, and then it minimizes the reward and your hard work of losing the 5 to 10 pounds. Okay. So having the right perceptions again, and breaking it down and having positivity through the journey, guys. All right. Because perception also tells us that this isn't going to be overnight. Chances are you didn't put the weight on overnight. It's not going to be overnight, especially for those of you who have, more weight to lose than others to get into having that healthy lifestyle change. Okay. So that kind of runs into my next thing, which is our expectations. And I already just said it. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a lifestyle change. All right. Think about Khloe Kardashian. Years and years ago, she wasn't, I wouldn't call her overweight, but she was bigger than her other sisters. And it seemed like she got a lot of negative, people are always saying something to her because I guess, when she's standing next to the other two, maybe it made it stand out more to others to notice that she was bigger than her other sisters. Well, and I even remember watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians where Bruce Jenner, who's the retired Olympic athlete, before he changed to sex, he was like cracking down on Khloe, like, you need to be eating more salads. You need to get your weight in check. You need to do blah, blah, blah. So he was on her about this, guys. And it wasn't quite then, but I started seeing when Khloe started taking her health a little more serious. She wanted to tone up. She wanted to lose the pounds, and she did. But as you guys can see, it was gradual for her. I mean, she eventually got there, guys, but it was not overnight. This was over like maybe 3 years of her making different changes. And you could see in all the videos, she was eating salads, like she was making those changes, guys. All right. So the other thing that I want to say is, just like anyone else you could have a slip up, or you could have done good for a whole month and you had a day where you kind of ate a lot of stuff, You're like, oh my God, I've been doing so good. And then you get on that guilt and that shame bandwagon, and then you're totally spiraling. The next day you do it again and you're like feeling bad for yourself, and it push you back. And this is how people can be yo-yoing. That's one reason why people yo-yo. The other one is they're doing unrealistic things like the fad diets instead of just trying to make lifestyle changes. You know, it could be simple as, you know what, I'm going to drink more water. You know, instead of having juice with all of my meals, maybe I'll have juice once a day now. And then I'm going to encourage myself to have lots of water, lemon water, like Coach Lakia suggested. I'm going to just try this, create these new habits. Okay. You can still have a birthday cake if you want. You still live your life, guys. This isn't like something to be looking at as horrible. All right. So I just really wanted to say that. I think that I'm on. Okay, I have 2 more things here that I want to mention. And the next thing is to educate yourself. All right, so let's start learning about vitamins. Let's learning, why is this fruit good for me? Why is this vegetable good for me? What's juicing? Or, you know, having just that mindfulness, because a lot of times it could just be the way, this is the food that I grew up on eating. I don't know any other way, you know. Look into other type of lifestyles like vegetarian and vegan. Even if you don't become a vegetarian or a vegan, you might find dishes in those lifestyles that you can incorporate in what you eat now. And like, man, I used to only just eat fried foods, and now I've gotten more into baking my food. I got a George Foreman grill, and, you know, I'm grilling, and that's taking the fat off of my food too. Man, I eat a lot more fruits instead of having a cake or a donut. I eat a piece of fruit when I want something sweet. You know, I have natural sugars that I turn to now. So it could be something like that. And just know, just like I told you guys in all my other videos, just like there's a light energy that wants to see you succeeding, there's a dark one. I'm telling you guys, don't even laugh. But I went to the gas station the other day, and, you know, I don't eat as much sugars, unnatural or refined sugars that I used to. And I went to the gas station. They had all of these gigantic donuts, and they were like, it was a very nice gas station, but one of them had Fruity Pebbles sprinkled around it. It was like that. It was all these different kind of donuts that I never had. And guess what? I looked at that and I said, the devil is a lie. It wasn't like enticing for me to have it. The devil doesn't know that, but he only has a certain amount of access to you as far as trying to tempt you. Okay, but God will always provide a way out. But since my mentality had made a certain shift, it wasn't like before when I would have been like, oh, I've never had a donut with Fruity Pebbles around them. I want to try that, you know. And then I could have bargained with myself. Well, Lakia, you haven't had a donut in like how long? What's the big deal? You know, I could have done something like that, but it wasn't even because my mind was right. My body followed, and it wasn't a temptation. I just laughed at it. I was like, I am going to get out of this store for sure. But I remember a time where I would have fallen for that, you know? So, you know, and if you fall for it at first, you know, just get back on the bandwagon. It's never too late to keep trying for yourself. Okay. And ultimately, guys, we just want to find our healing. We really want to find our healing, because a lot of times, like I said in the beginning, the root of us doing this overeating is not because of the food. We are trying to soothe. We're trying to push other things down that need to be addressed, you know, like that narcissistic relationship and all of the stress that, you know, you're eating is eating away at you. Literally, it's eating away at you at this point when you're emotionally eating. Okay. And you can look in the mirror and tell. Like, you can tell, like, some people and some celebrities have this. Janet Jackson, her weight goes up and down, up and down. And I think she may be one of the people that suffers from the emotionally eating at time. Now, she's a millionaire, and when she wants to get that weight down for tours and stuff, she can hire the top of the line chef and the trainer, and they know how to get her right real quick. You know what I mean? But, you know, for the general population, you may not have that at your disposal. But if you do, you know, take advantage of what you can. You know, if you're just getting back into working out again and you want to find yourself a trainer, there's so many of them out there. to make sure that you're exercising properly, or they're helping you target the areas that you need to target for your particular body and the things that for your particular goals. Make the investment in yourself, guys. All right. And be proud of yourself. This isn't a punishment. I do know, like, it's just creating those new patterns. And I can tell you this from experience. There have been times when I've dragged into the gym, but I usually skip out, because guess what? Now you're going to be releasing, hormones in a healthy way, because when you work out, you actually release those feel-good hormones as well. So there's other ways to get that to happen. Like, some people actually can lose weight when they're stressed out. They're like, I lost so much weight. I had no appetite. Everybody's different. But I really wanted to make this video, though, because it is actually very near and dear to me. And several, like I said, survivors have requested this video. And I did want to just open up this topic, guys, and talk to you about the emotional eating. I hope that it helps someone. I hope that it really, really helps someone have a breakthrough moment, like I said, a light bulb moment, and want to have that awareness with themselves and get real with themselves and say, you know what, I can do better. I can do better, and I will do better. I am better than this. I love myself. I'm not going to self-harm myself. I'm not going to make myself vulnerable to these diseases. I'm not going to do all types of things that, can mess up my longevity. I need to be here for my children, or I want to be here for myself even, just having that adequate self-love and having that right perception, guys. All right. With that being said, guys, if this video has resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. If you're new to my channel, hit the bell. There's a lot of videos on here to help you on your journey. I do offer one-on-one coaching if you're struggling with this, or healing from narcissistic abuse, or pretty much anything in your life. I am a life coach, and I can help you through that. You can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com, and the link is below. You can go ahead and just schedule your session. If you want a time that's not listed on there, just email me, coachlakia@gmail.com, and we can work this out. All right. I do have the free support group for survivors of narcissistic abuse over on Facebook. You're definitely welcome to come there. And you can check below in the description for all types of things that I have going on, and on my website for other products that I have, therapeutic healing books that I've written, No Narc Zone merchandise that you can order as well. All right. So at the end of the day, love yourself, guys, where you are today. I don't care if you're one of the people that need to lose 300 pounds or something. I don't care. Like, love yourself today, and love yourself for even taking the initiative to intercept yourself, not to continue to emotionally eat, but intercept yourself to start doing the right things. It's doing these things every day. You're depositing into a bank, and guess what? It's the amount of that money is going to grow. That's how it is with exercising. When you go on the first day, will you see a result? Probably not. But 2-3 months later, oh yeah, you're going to be seeing results here. So it's a gradual process, and it's just making one good decision at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself, always focusing on that finish line. Look, let's just get through today. Oh, another day on the books. I did a good job. And pretty soon you're building new habits. You're replacing those toxic habits with new ones. And before you know it, you're not feeling as much resistance. It's not so much for you to say no to, and then a lot of time I used to work a 9 to 5, and I know how much junk food they bring in. Every day is somebody's birthday. Every day is pizza day. And look, I know all about that. But like I said, we're going to shift our perceptions and think about the bigger picture here, and not seeing things as a punishment, not seeing it as, some type of restriction here. So we got to keep our right mentalities and perceptions. All right, guys, I love you guys, and you can do this. And I want to hear about some success stories. Feel free to go down in the comment sections. And if you've been struggling with this, you have advice or whatever. All right, guys. So thank you for listening. Thank you for all the love and support that we show on this channel. And what do I say at the end of all of my videos? Never, and I mean never, give up on yourself. Keep doing the work. And until next time, please take care.